Jim, one stock that is down today is T-Mobile, the wireless carrier. Of course, yesterday, a nationwide outage well, at least in parts of the country for a certain amount of time. That's gotten the attention of the FCC. But what I want to tell you about this morning is the likelihood of a large sale of T-Mobile stock. Now, this is something that we've talked about in the past. A number of weeks ago. In fact, I think May 19th is when I reported on what would be a very large secondary coming from SoftBank, which owns some 300+ million shares of T-Mobile. And I can update you now a bit on that. Yesterday, we got a 13D filing from SoftBank indicating things were moving along in terms of their plan to sell stock. And the color that I can tell you about right now is that Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley have been making calls, in addition to other potential underwriters for this enormous offering, to those who already inquired previously, trying to sort of get a sense for the book here in terms of what it would look like. There is not going to be an offering this week, but people familiar with the situation tell me that they do expect that early next week this will hit the market. That is that huge secondary offering of stock of T-Mobile by SoftBank. Now, I previously reported it could be as much as $20 billion or close to it. I'm now being told it could be up to 2/3 of SoftBank's position that would hit the market. That's a large amount of stock. That's why T-Mobile is weak. I don't think it is as much on the outage as it is on the expectation of additional supply coming into the marketplace. We'll see how it's dealt with, Jim. Now, previously, the Journal had reported that Deutsche Telekom would be stepping up for some portion of that, but that's not as clear to me that that's going to be the case in terms of them actually writing a check. They do want to maintain their voting control. They do have certain voting rights agreements with some of the SoftBank shares. They will continue to make sure they have a path to voting control, but it doesn't mean they're going to take their checkbook out here and buy a certain percentage of the shares that are sold by SoftBank. So again, we're going to be getting ready for that, Jim, next week. Maybe it'll go as well as the PNC sale of the BlackRock, the sale by PNC of BlackRock shares. Again, an enormous secondary there. But it's one we've been waiting for, Jim.
You made a fortune.
And, don't forget, since we first started reporting on this as a possibility back in May 19th, T-Mobile stock price has done quite well. So it's just backing off a bit here.
I think Regeneron, that was an unbelievable, with the Sanofi sale, that was an amazing deal. You made 100 points. The BlackRock deal was fantastic. I bet this one, if I were a hedge fund manager, I would put in right now. I say I want some T-Mobile. It's doing incredibly well. So, I mean, I think that's just a great idea, and I'm glad you brought it to people's attention, because if you act, it's kind of like act now, and you end up getting a real good slug of that, and that company is doing quite well. I think that's a great idea in a market that I think is up a little too far right now. It would be great to have a little merchandise that is in the hole, so to speak.
Yeah, and don't forget, of course, very important for SoftBank, monetizing, as I've said, as much as 2/3 of that stake there, Jim. Going to be important for them as they sort of try to battle through the difficulty with some of their investments at that company. Of course, the Vision Fund we've talked about so often, large owners of Uber and DoorDash and Didi and WeWork as well, of course.
David, the DoorDash, $15 billion. It actually should be worth less with that acquisition of Grubhub, not more. That was one of those deals where the same people bid it up. It kind of reminded me of some of the things that were happening pre-WeWork, where each round is a little bit higher, except for this last round should have been lower. There was no reason it should have been like. The situation is as good.
Many restaurants
have gone under, and those were great customers.